The original vampiric creature of Australian mythology, the Yarma-Yahoo stands out due to its unusual appearance and interesting feeding habits. Small in
Doesn't that kind of look like meat a little bit?
stature, the red-skinned monster's other notable feature is its giant mouth. Though it may look silly, these
It's like a meat man, a baby Thanos.
beings give a whole new meaning to the word bloodsucker. Meant to frighten children into good behavior, it also ties the members of indigenous communities to one another, to their environment, and to their shared past.
That's Australia.
Oh,
Australia
and
has some
by the
crazy
way,
cryptids.
they drink your blood through their fingertips and their toes.
I mean, I've seen that.
I'm Dr. Emily Zarka, and this is Monstrum. One of mythology's truly unique creatures, the Australian Yarma-Yahoo's unassuming, almost comical appearance hides its threatening.
Dude, come on. That thing looks fucking crazy. Like, just his face, though. If you cut that out, the circle, it reminds me of meat.
Nature. Standing only about 4 feet tall, the red-skinned monster has a massive serpentine head on a disproportionately small body. Its mouth, throat, and stomach are likewise freakishly large. This strange being has no teeth, no weapons to speak of. So why is it so scary?
It has no
well,
weapons
first
to
of all,
speak of.
it swallows its
fucking
food
eats
whole.
people.
Its mouth widens like a snake, much wider than its body size, the better to gobble up its prey. And what is its prey? Us. Or more accurately, it is coming for your children. The lore surrounding the Yarma-Yahoo functioned primarily to frighten Aboriginal children into obedience so that they wouldn't wander away from the safety of their homes and into the bush. The Australian outback is a notoriously unforgiving landscape, and you can't blame a community for developing particularly gruesome and terrifying stories to keep their kids in line. Although it won't turn down an unassuming adult either. I mentioned that this monster doesn't appear to have any weapons, but appearances can be deceiving.
I mean, it sucks blood with its fucking fingers. What do you mean it doesn't have weapons?
In fact, the Yarma-Yahoo has 2 grisly weapons to employ: sucker cup-laden appendages and regurgitation? According to one folktale, a man, tired from hunting, fell asleep under a tree. Before he could even utter a sound, a Yarma-Yahoo leapt upon him and sucked his blood with its fingers and toes. The monster began to swallow him whole, creeping over his body with its mouth unnaturally wide. The hunter's mother saw what was happening and grabbed her husband's spear, but she was too far away, and before she could come close to the monster, the Yarma-Yahoo stood and ran off to a watering hole.
With the
his
fucking
new
guy
victim
inside?
in his
Jesus
stomach.
Christ.
While telling the tale to little children in her community, the mother lamented the Yarma-Yahoo must have vomited him back up. A smart man, she instructed, would have played dead until dark when the monster was asleep and it was safer to flee.
Yeah, this is PBS.
Her
This is a
son, she
PBS
believes,
funded
tried
channel.
to escape, but the monster caught
There's a show
him,
called Monstrum
only to swallow
that this
him up again
woman runs. I
and
really
again,
like it.
until he
It's just like a
became
different
like the
cryptid
monster himself.
every week.
He had turned into a Yarma-Yahoo.
Yeah,
Living
you get
among
eaten by
the
one,
thick,
it pukes
leafy
you up and
foliage
eats
of
you again
wild
until you
fig
turn into
trees,
one.
Yarma-Yahoo will pounce on its prey, men, women, and children alike, as they walk below or are foolish enough to seek respite under the tree's branches.
It's just a cycle of being
Fear of this
eaten
creature
and
was
puked
so
up.
great that people would go out of their way to look for shelter in caves or rocky overhangs rather than sit under a tree. The Yarma-Yahoo's fingers and toes each end in a cup-shaped sucker like those of an octopus, but these suckers drain their victims' blood. And it gets worse. Yarma-Yahoo drains just enough blood from its victims to incapacitate them. Then, like a cat with a mouse, the games begin. Once the victim is unconscious, the Yarma-Yahoo crawls toward it and swallows the body whole, head first. This apparently takes considerable energy, requiring the monster to take a long drink of water and then curl up for a nap, the victim still alive in its belly. Upon waking, the Yarma-Yahoo vomits up its presumably terrified meal. And it gets weirder. Only once the creature falls asleep again, and it clearly has a thing for naps, its victim can run away. And if the Yarma-Yahoo wakes, the victim may be safe since the monster cannot run very fast, its gait resembling that of a cockatoo. But you knew there was going to be a but, didn't you? It's not just the loss of blood that the human prey must fear.
This guy.
If a person is caught by the Yaramayahu more than once, they will become shorter and shorter each time it regurgitates them until they become as small as the monster itself.
Oh my god.
Slowly their skin will turn smooth and red, and they will lose all of the hair on their body. Eventually, they become a Yaramayahu. That's the creature.
That works.
Hauntingly creepy and yet surprisingly practical from a community organization standpoint.
How Gollum
right?
became Gollum, basically.
But I mentioned earlier that this monster's story is deeper than just a warning to kids about the dangers of the wilderness that surrounded them. Like many of the monsters I explore, Yaramayahu's story is intrinsically tied both to the cultural identity and to the history of the people who mythologized it. The pervasive mythology of the indigenous peoples of Australia reflects their deep ties to the land and the environment, as well as the far-reaching effects of colonialism on these cultures. Aboriginal communities recognize 3 important categories outside of humans and animals in their mythos: ancestral creators, ghosts or human spirits, and spirit beings. The ancestral creators occupied the land during what the Aboriginals called dream time, the beginning of time. They shaped the entire world
myth.
From sky to sea and everything.
Dream time sounds sick.
They dictated the traditions and customs of social and religious practice. For Aboriginals, humans exist because of these ancestor beings. Ghosts or human spirits are understood to be the spiritual remains of the living. Finally, there are the spirit beings.
That's kind of sick.
Unlike the ancestral creators, who are beings from a time long ago, spirit beings exist in the here and now, living on the land alongside humans. Aboriginals' sacred beliefs see these creatures, including the Yaramayahu, as co-residents of a shared landscape. The spirit beings are part of the physical environment in that they contribute in ways that may directly influence the lives of people. Among these spirit beings is a whole category of little men or spirit men, a group to which the Yaramayahu belong. Anthropologist Philip A.
I don't
Clark
trust that guy
explored this
immediately.
classification deeply.
Don't trust him.
According to him, these small beings with human-like characteristics, unusually colored skin, most commonly red, and a mischievous nature are often connected to a particular environment or locale. These spirit men are predominant in myths among southeastern Australian Aboriginals. That being said, there is striking differentiation and variation in their appearance and habits across communities and even within a single community. Moreover, there are other little men who appear throughout Australian lore. In Western Australia, the Yaramayahu's counterpart looks more like an orangutan or a monkey and has a hairy, but still red,
Is he gonna eat that kangaroo?
In fact, one thing almost all the stories have in common is the unusual coloring of the little men. They could be yellow, green, gray, white, or red like our friend the Yaramayahu. The broader group of these little men generally live on high ground, whether it be on the tops of cliffs, hills, or sand dunes.
That looks sick.
Most active at dawn and dusk, they are spotted either in pairs or alone. Hunters would leave out offerings from their kills to appease these beings. Of course, there are ways in which Yaramayahu tales differ from those of these other spirit men. They are not reported in pairs, and they do most of their hunting during the day. They are truly unique, however, in that they alone threaten to make you one of their kind. Before the British forcibly settled on the continent, over 500 indigenous groups occupied the land. Many of their myths and stories were misinterpreted by the Europeans, and creatures from Aboriginal mythology were regarded as real foreign species by European colonizers.
Frog people?
Beings that they had yet to see in the wild, but were certain existed, like the bunyip and, even to a degree, the Yaramayahu.
Oh, the bunyip. Who said that before?
Early 20th century anthropologist and archaeologist Norman B. Tyndale believed that accounts of the spirit men, or little folk, were actually the diluted oral history of a race of pygmy people believed to have arrived in Australia more than 30,000 years ago. The increasing exchange of cultural practices and folklore in post-colonial Australia meant that indigenous myths were forever altered, including the mythology describing its monsters. This helps explain, for example, why the Yaramayahu is more often classified as a vampire species in modern times, rather than as the spirit being it originally was understood to be. It also helps us understand why we see such variations in the monster's traits across cultures and throughout modern history.
Australia's got fucking crazy
sightings
wildlife,
of various diminutive humanoid beings in Australia continued well into the 1980s. And folklore of the spirit men continues to be shared among members of indigenous communities today. The continuation of the oral traditions of spirit beings by the Aboriginal people serves as a connection to their regional communities and is part of a larger cultural identity in post-colonial Australia.
No, I've never heard
of that. The Yarma-Yahoo might be a strange
bat?
Body, but it is nonetheless a body of knowledge. I'll do it again.
Was it just a dying
I
kid
have
that
an
ate
existential crisis every time.
giant kid that ate snakes?
How quirky.
That'd be kind of creepy. Yeah, I like that show a lot. It's just the channel itself is called Storied. It's got a bunch of random fucking people on it. Fucking Lindsay Ellis posts fucking video essays on it. But also that woman runs that show called Monstrum. There it is. Check it out. It actually is a really neat channel. Dude, PBS runs some pretty cool channels, actually. On YouTube. If you want something to watch. Are they all hooked up through here? There's another one I like to watch. PBS Eons.
When a team...
It's just like random... Good one. What is a cool one? This one is kind of cool.
About 99 million years ago, a strange insect was getting ready for its next meal. But before it could eat, the dripping resin of a tree killed both predator and prey.
Eons is just like dinosaur stuff.
From the world. That
and
predator
like
was an ancient
history kind of things.
Ant called Ceratomyrmex.
But yeah, PBS runs like a whole little network of YouTube
the same six
stuff.
Legs and segmented body that we'd
That's actually really
from
interesting.
An ant today. But there were two
good way
major
to
differences in its
spice up your fucking sub box.
Its huge scythe-like jaw and the horn coming out of its head.
Some fucking variety.
And pinned between these two structures was its prey, an ancient ancestor of cockroaches.
I don't know what her name is. It's her and this other dude that run this channel. Or they're the ones that are usually presenting the videos, at least.
And although they're extinct, back in the Cretaceous period, there were as many as 17 species.
Maybe we could watch another Monstrum.
They lived all around the world. And
I also like that the name of the show is Monstrum.
At least 20 million years, so they were doing pretty well for a while. Maybe thanks to their unique hunting skills.
Dude, imagine if a giant ant
gone now, and
was real and it just ate you.
Why? Today, modern ants live in huge
like, what if you saw those ants
colonies,
outside and they were like bigger than you?
nests,
Would you just
and
fucking
help
give
care
up?
For young, even if the larvae aren't their direct offspring. But did hell ants fit this mold,
just be like,
or were
fuck,
they
man.
something else entirely? The answer could help us understand why the social ants we know today are so successful, and maybe why the hell
What's
ants
the ant movie
weren't.
about the giant ants
might
under
come
LA?
down to
They?
the evolution
Them?
of
What the fuck is it called? That movie's sick.
The hell ants are some of the earliest ants known in the fossil record, and the first one was found in an amber mine from northern Myanmar.
It's just fucking Jurassic Park.
100 years ago. But that first specimen wasn't actually identified until 1996, so almost everything we know about these insects comes from the last 25 years. Each species had its own adaptations, whether it was enormous mandibles and curving headgear that helped them capture prey, or sharp
like alligator
horns for stabbing it. But all of the
mouths.
species of hell ants shared one thing in common: jaws that moved vertically rather than horizontally. And this is strange because
It's just
every
them.
species
Yeah, that
of
movie's
ant
cool.
known today has mandibles that move horizontally from side to side. We might think of modern
pretty old,
ant
too. I think
mandibles as more like
I think they even
pincers
parody
than
it in like
jaws,
Zombies
but
Ate My
hell ants
Neighbors.
seem
I
to
think
use
that's
their
the
horns
name of the
like an
first level with
extension of
ants.
their
It's called
mouths.
Them or something
the
like
jaws
that.
moved upward and the horns acted as
Yo, that
a
grub about to
stable
get cut in
structure to
half.
pin things
Damn.
against. And hell ants are actually one of only 2 known insects with jaws that work vertically along with some kind of headgear, making it a pretty unique adaptation. But as more specimens were discovered, experts also realized that
There's not really any good scary movies with
ants,
ants, except that one with Woody Allen,
trait in living ants.
where he's an
Casts are a
ant.
strange feature of ants in which
Other than
members
them
of the same
and
species
ants,
have different
what other
body
scary
types.
ant movies
For
are there?
example, there might be a queen with a large body and wings, workers
Oh,
with
dude,
a
something
smaller
about
body
ant
and no
queens
wings,
too
and
fucking
soldiers with bigger
nasty.
jaws,
Like they're all
within the
fucking
same
big and
species.
shit.
Some of these casts are even born sterile without the
Fuck
ability
that.
to reproduce. They just work to take care of the colony and the offspring of other ants. And ants today are well known for being eusocial insects. They have a division of labor,
ants,
create
man.
colonies with multiple generations of adults, and many of the adults care for young that aren't their own. Now, while entomologists can understand modern eusocial ants by studying colonies
They care
in action,
about other fucking
it gets a bit
ants?
trickier with extinct groups like the hell ants, because we can't directly observe their behavior. So how do you tell if a hell ant was
They're
part
gonna
of
take
this
over.
wonderfully complex
They're gonna replace
eusocial
us.
structure? Well, scientists have found a number of these ants trapped in amber that can give us some clues about their social behavior. Specimens from France show
You know,
one
it's a sick
ant that
game,
had
Evo,
wings while others
The
had
Search
no
for Eden.
wings, but otherwise they
There's
were
some ants in
almost
that game too, I
identical.
think. All right,
And
man,
a
there are more
specimen from
bees.
Myanmar preserved
the same
little
thing.
torn wing nubs that may indicate it had
Ants are just
recently
bees on the
shed
ground,
its
basically.
wings, which happens in some modern ants after a queen goes on a mating
ground
flight and then
bees,
settles
some
down
people
to
call them in
start
some
a new
countries.
colony. Scientists think these specimens might be evidence of caste and a reproductive division of labor, since modern ants with
I think in
different
some
body
European
shapes
countries.
do different types of work. But it's really hard to be sure from the fossil record whether the different body types
Oops.
or if they come from different species. Another piece
Yeah,
of
Evo
evidence
Search for Eden
scientists
is a
look
cool
at
game.
is the
I'd like to
presence
play
of
that
a
again sometime.
metapleural gland that most ants have today. This gland secretes fluids that are thought to help the ants keep clean, as well as communicate with each other. And this communication is thought to be another part of
What the fuck are they
eusocial
climbing
behavior.
on? What is
Now,
that?
if ancient ants had this same type of gland, then maybe they were also communicating. And guess what? All Cretaceous ants, including hell ants,
Oh
had
yeah,
a
there's another
metapleural
Evo. I've
gland.
never played
So
the one that's a PC 98 RPG.
Both suggest that
I
they
watched a
practice
video
some
about
form
that
of eusociality.
someone made. I
But
forget who the
things
fuck made
get
that.
complicated when it comes to the bigger picture of ants in the
Long-ass
Cretaceous.
video about that
For
game. I need
example,
to play
take
that. That would
several
be fun.
pieces of Burmese amber that were all found close together and analyzed in 2016. In one of the pieces, there are 12 worker ants.
Man, I thought they were
all
gonna be, like,
trapped
big.
together, 11 of one species.
There
and
were
one
big
hell
ants
ant.
at one point,
In
though,
another
right?
piece,
We just
there
don't.
are 21 ants from 3 different species. And that's kind of a big deal because ants were much rarer during
Like,
the
probably at
Cretaceous
one
than
point,
they are today.
there were
They
humans
never make up
riding
more than
giant ants
3%
around.
of the insects in the deposits where they're found.
Pretty
so
sure.
it would have been extremely unlikely for multiple ants of the same species to be trapped in the same piece of amber unless those ants were interacting with other members of their species in some way. But hell ants often appear trapped in amber alone. So does that mean hell ants were less social than other Cretaceous species? Well, it's hard to say. While hell ants most likely practice some form of eusociality, they might not have had all the elements of highly eusocial insects. Based on their appearance in the fossil record, some scientists have proposed that hell ants might have lived in small colonies with fewer than 100 individuals, and the caste
Yeah,
might
yeah,
not have
and
been
Honey, I Shrunk the
quite as
Kids.
distinct as in modern
Happened
ants.
in that one.
Either way, hell ants are extinct today, and modern eusocial ants are everywhere. So was true eusociality the thing that made the difference? Because it
Whoa,
seems like a huge
dude, they're killing-
strategy from
what?
the perspective of natural selection.
Chopping up
Why
that
would
guy.
sterile individuals evolve in the first place? Well, here we
Moving all
turn to
those
what's
leaves.
known as Hamilton's rule of kin selection. Hamilton's rule boils down to this. Say
What
a
are you
colony
doing, man?
of related ants benefits from the ants helping each other. While this help might not impact an individual ant's offspring, the overall benefit to the
Imagine if
colony
one of them
will be
dropped that
higher
leaf and
than
it
the
cut another
cost to
ant in
that
half.
one individual ant. So
And he
we
didn't
end
even
up with
realize
sterile
it, like some
individuals
anime
who
fucking
work to ensure
samurai
the
shit.
survival of the group.
But
And
then
there
when
are
he got
definite
home,
advantages to
his
joining
wife,
the
like,
group,
touched him and he
like more
fucking
food,
sliced in half.
increased nest defense against
Because they're
predators
that
or
dumb. They just
parasites,
don't even know
and
that they
the
got cut in
potential
half.
to inherit established nest sites. But others have argued against kin selection by saying that high relatedness is more likely to be a consequence of eusociality, not a reason it evolves. In other words,
Anime?
ants don't help
my
each other's
God.
offspring because they're aunts and uncles of those offspring. They were already helping each other because of the benefits to the entire colony, and the relatedness just happens to be one byproduct. Some scientists think that the precursors to full eusociality were insects that worked within a nest, more like a co-op,
Ant
and not an
nest?
enormous colony. This would apply to early ants and maybe even some species of hell ants. Right now, though, it's impossible to say whether true eusociality was the thing that distinguished the ancestors
At the
of
zoo
modern
where I
ants from
live,
the
they have
hell
a
ants.
diagram that shows what the
But
world would look
it
like without
does seem
insects.
like the
Basically a
ant species
wasteland.
that formed
Yeah.
bigger colonies have been more successful.
You live at a zoo?
So where'd the hell ants go? Well, there's a 20 million year gap in the fossil record between the last Cretaceous ant and the earliest Cenozoic ant fossils. This huge gap in the fossil record sits right around the KPG extinction event 66 million years ago. But after that time, ant abundance increased.
I'm just wondering
by
when
an
the
order
giant
of
ants ruled the
magnitude,
Earth.
for reasons that scientists still don't really understand.
Like, could there be people
It might have had
ants
something to
instead
do
of
with
us
the ants
ruling the
shifting
world?
from small
Like,
colonies
where
of a few hundred individuals.
could that happen? Oh, my fucking
While the
audio
overall
keeps dying.
abundance of modern ant ancestors increased, the diversity of ants decreased. Basically, we lost the weird Mesozoic types, and it's not really clear why. As for the hell ants, well, they were gone about 10 million years before the Cenozoic even started, and it might have had something to do with their wild jaws. These predatory
Wild
ants are thought to have
jaws.
used their specialized mandibles to capture and eat other insects, like that young cockroach. And it's been shown that specialization in animals can increase their risk of becoming extinct. So it's possible that the weird mouth parts of hell ants made them more susceptible to extinction as flowering plants took over most ecosystems towards the end of the
There's a lot of
Cretaceous.
bees this year too.
Or
I keep
maybe
seeing
it had
like
to do with the fact
so
that
many
scientists
bees.
don't think
I hope
they
that
were
means
living in
that there's
huge
actually more
colonies.
bees
And
now.
even if they
I know
had
it doesn't,
some
but
characteristics of eusocial insects,
maybe
hell
I have a
ants
plant
might not
outside
have
my
been
house
able to
that's just like,
survive if they were
I don't know,
only
they
in
fucking love
groups
it.
of 100 or so.
when
Whatever
I'm
the
getting in the
case,
car,
extinction
there's
of
just
the
like
hell ants
bees
is
flying
still
into
a
me.
puzzle for paleoentomologists. But what they do know is that during the 20 million years the hell ants roamed the world,
And they're
they
cool.
were
They're just like the
weird
big
and
giant
wonderful
bees. They don't give a
tiny
shit.
hunters. If this episode got you thinking about other insects, maybe mosquitoes, trapped in amber, and a popular
Yeah, that-
90s movie,
and, like, Ice
check out
Cube.
our episode, Can We Get DNA from Fossils? Also, thanks
Yeah,
to
it's
this
called
month's
Jurassic Park.
paleontologist for keeping the colony
But
strong.
yeah, this one's called
Sean
Eons.
Dennis,
It's really
Jake
cool. I like
Hart,
it.
Annie, and Eric.
There's actually an episode I watched. I don't know if was it
When
Eons?
a team of French archaeologists landed
Where it shows like they talk about what happens when the Mediterranean like dried out. The time the Mediterranean Sea disappeared. Yeah, that one's pretty cool. It's a good channel. PBS must have like a bunch of different channels they do. PBS Voices, Space Time. I not really have watched that one yet. Infinite Spaces. Jeez, they do a lot. You could like, there's just like stuff for days here. What's that other channel with the all the After Effects birds and stuff like that they use for graphics? Talk about like space, world exploding. Kungerzat or something like that. Kurzergat. Kunterzagat. Never remember how to fucking say the name of the channel. Kiziragivrat. Kiziggurat. Karangbin. And I don't know. Well, people remember the name of their channel because it's pretty popular. I like that one too. Oh, here it is. Here's a gat. Yeah, the little birds and stuff. Now what do I want to watch? I don't know if I really feel like playing too many more games tonight. It's kind of getting late already. We can watch a few more videos, and I'm probably going to wrap it up. Let's watch. I got an idea. Burnow. Let's watch some Nintendo commercials.
Master Higgins is back in Adventure Island 2.
We've seen this one.
This time, he's not alone in his quest to save his beloved. Various prehistoric friends will help Higgins defeat
Yeah, I don't know if I ever really got into
foes.
these games. I do like the colors and enemy
Adventure
designs.
Island
But
2, the premier action-adventure game.
did anyone ever play
By
Dino
Hudson
Ricky?
Soft.
Anyone remember Dino Ricky? My grandma bought me that game. It was kind of legit.
A double mission to save the future.
What the fuck?
Back to the Future 2 and 3. Get it
I've never seen this commercial. Oh, hell yeah. This game sucks so bad.
Get the Simpsons game for your NES from Acclaim.
This is bad.
To the Caveman Games.
You can
Let's go
barely
down
see
to the
what's
main
going on here.
toss. Grub spinning his main.
Oh, this one.
Nice bounce, Crudla.
I don't remember this
Sounds
being on the
like a fun for
NES.
clubbing. There's the finger fake. Yes, sucker.
It's Flintstones, but not.
Eat him.
Oh my god.
No post-game interview there.
Caveman games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. You get bitten, you get eaten.
I'd like to collect some NES and complete box like that.
$3, new from SNK.
I found 20 on the Toys R Us floor and bought Dino Ricky with it. Nice, dude. Did you regret that, or were you happy with that decision? That game was kind of hard, but it was basically... I don't know. There's a lot of games like that at the time. It was legit. It had some cool bosses. It was tough, though. Oh, crystals. That's a good one, too.
Double Dragon 2, The Revenge for your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Did that lady just get hit in the head with the fucking mace?
Play on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Are you up to the challenge?
Double Dragon 2, The Revenge for your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh, psh, she's fucking dead.
The best action game ever from Acclaim.
From Acclaim.
The ultimate in NES martial arts action continues with all new weapons, characters, and street fighting moves. that
all
take the
new
world
weapons.
apart from villains. Double Dragon 3 from Acclaim. The action keeps coming.
With slow motion, twin turbo rapid fire, head-to-head or team play.
Hell yeah.
Acclaim's double player system from power to move.
We already seen all
times
these.
2.
Narc, the arcade smash for your Nintendo Entertainment System. Narc, with simultaneous two-player action. Narc.
Narc is sick.
Taking on Mr. Big and busting
Mr. Big.
Narc from Acclaim. No one has the
I'm gonna find some different ones because we've seen a lot of these ones. Bump. These ones are better. I don't think we've done much Super Nintendo.
Introducing the next generation from Nintendo.
Or not as
Super
much.
Mario World, created especially for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Mario
It's a bit more
World.
exciting, a bit more challenging, a bit more graphic, a bit more colorful, a bit more realistic, a bit more levels, a bit more secret, a bit more enemies, a bit more friends, a bit more sound.
Did he say a bit more
fun,
anime?
A bit cooler, a bit weird, a bit more revolutionary, a bit more Mario, a bit more of what you want. It's 16-bit, and it's yours only if you get new Super Nintendo.
It's 16-bit.
Superpower.
Words can't describe the endless challenge of
I remember this
Mario
one.
World, so we let the players do the talking.
Real kids. It's like a fucking 30-year-old man. I guess they didn't specify. They said just players.
Super Mario World is here. It's one of the new generation of Nintendo games. It comes only with Super Nintendo, and it's like nothing
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
ever faced.
Pretty sure they're all
Playing
kids.
with Power, superpower.
All was peaceful in the Mushroom Kingdom. Till Smithy the Sword shattered the sorrow.
Hell yeah. I don't remember this one.
Old enemy Bowser and a marshmallow.
Yo, this makes me want to play Mario RPG.
Mario fought evil wedding cakes and the killer Venus flytraps and
I remember getting this for a birthday when I was a kid. Fucking loved it.
Grandfather's freaky.
Super Mario.
That's a good one.
That keeps on kicking. Super NES.
Dig it?
Yeah, Mario RPG is fucking jam. Whoa! It's loud. This Sailor Moon beat 'em up is pretty legit, I think. Dude, I love Sailor Moon. It was on Toonami, like right when I got into middle school. Fucking loved it. Also all anime though, that I could consume. Nice. The actual ostrich. Yo, did that show Final Fantasy 2? Or 4 rather? I guess 2 on the Super Nintendo, but
Okay, Dad, I'm coming.
yeah, hell yeah. I'd never seen a commercial for Final Fantasy 4 before. Did not know this existed.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Game Boy.
It ain't over.
Yeah, Game Boy.
Chill out, Dad.
I like that one. Yo, this one though. Fucking love this commercial.
Okay, kid, show me what you got. Yeah, right. Next. Yes.
This is such a cool commercial, man.
Next.
Also, they had a paper version of this one.
Scary. Next.
Well, like a magazine ad, I mean.
Final Fantasy 3. Do you have what it takes? Final Fantasy 3 from Squaresoft.
Next.
One of my favorite games of all time. Love Final Fantasy 6, dude. What is this music for Final Fight? It's so 80s. The Japanese commercial too. Yeah, because did we get 2 in America? Yeah, we did, right? I mean, I remember having 1. Never played F-Zero, really. Also, this is just your left ear right now, isn't it? You won't believe the power.
The curves, or the feeling you get until you experience it for yourself. Whoa! That's fast! F-Zero for the ultimate G-Force only in the next generation from Nintendo. Now you're playing.
Really? There's a Five Nights at Freddy's like parody beat 'em up now? That's cool. Like by the actual creator though? What the fuck is this? Oh, dude, I love Super Ghouls and Goblins. Ghouls and Ghosts, whatever the fuck it's called. This is a weird commercial for it though. This is like one of the first Super Nintendo games that came out too, I think.
Holy
Never really got into Killer Instinct. I don't think I ever even played it, honestly. All about Mortal Kombat when I was growing up. What the fuck?
Super NES, complete with Killer Cuts game music CD. It's totally.
So who needs a new system?
Oh shit. Is this the one? The dancing one? Yep. This one's fucking awesome. You get enough coordinated dance segments. pretty badass Ganon. It's sick. Gallo Sengen.
This time,
like fucking volume difference.
The ultimate battle of good against evil. To a quest few are prepared for, and fewer still survive. But perhaps now the power
I've never seen this one.
Grasp. It's the game that's already a legend. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, only on the Super Nintendo.
Never seen that commercial before.
Now you're playing with superpower.
Seen this one. Fucking love Mortal Kombat. It's like a Limp Bizkit music video. I guarantee you Fred Durst was like, yeah, I want that, but I want that in my music video. That's gotta be one of the coolest fatalities when Scorpion takes his fucking hood off and just like breathes fire all over somebody. I like that these are like together. The Lin Kuei. I like how Sub-Zero goes through like these like he's good, he's bad, he's the son of the good bad guy, like always changing that guy's story. Fuck is this? What? More Mortal Kombat. That was bizarre. Blockbuster music? The fuck is that? Jam. Jam. Damn. NBA Jam really is an amazing game, though. I can barely hear him. That was my mouse.
Nigel Mansell's World Championship game from Nintendo. You have to choose the right time, pit stop, and race against the best drivers in the world. It's just like the real thing, and my wife loves it. Right, darling? Hi, it's very realistic, Nigel. My little girls love it too. Right, twins? Completely true. Hey, even my dog loves it. Right, Fang? Woof. So, there you have it. I think it's a wonderful game, and if your family's anything like mine, they'll love it too. Right, girls?
Never heard of that game. Never.
Listen up! I'm not here to babysit your panty waist. I'm here to make you better Nintendo players.
What?
So what does Mario do here, Mr. Jackson?
What?
Wrong. You. Wrong.
Do a little dance.
Wrong.
To get better at Nintendo, pick up super secret game kits on packages of Pepsi. Best of all, you can win one of thousands of Super Nintendo Entertainment Systems delivered via Federal Express.
Boo! I want you in my office now.
This kid's an animal.
I like how they specified delivered via Federal Express. Whoa, Jesus Christ. Mega Man 7.
Capcom.
I've never seen any of these. Pretty cool. Mega Man X commercial? Yo, that's pretty sick. The fuck was that? Oh, Storm Eagle's ship blowing up. Is there like an anime to go along with Mega Man X? Oh, it's like Chibi Sailor Moon. Puzzle game. There is now, really? Samurai Shodown?
Super Famicom, Samurai Spirits.
That's the Japanese name of the game, right? Samurai Shodown here. King of Fighters.
Super Famicom, Garo Densetsu Special.
Yeah, there's a lot of Japanese ones in here, but it's mixed. As there's more and more. Yo, Secret of Evermore commercial? What? I've never seen this. I think the last time I watched a playthrough of Secret of Evermore was when Vinny played it, like probably like fucking 7 years ago for the last time.
Secret of Evermore. Squaresoft.
Love that game.
In einer längst vergessenen Zeit, in einem unbekannten Land, wo Friede herrschte.
I've never seen this either.
Diese hinterlistige Macht alles zerstören wollte, bist du der Einzige, der die Ordnung wiederherstellen kann.
He looks fucking derpy.
Für deine Freunde und die Macht des Schwertes von Mana.
What the fuck?
Das erste Action-Rollenspiel für 3 Spieler gleichzeitig.
It's German, you're right, yeah.
The Secret of Mana. Nur für Super Nintendo.
I love Secret of Mana. What? Is it a copyright song? Hope not.
Konami.
I don't like it.
In the ring, out of the ring, out of
In the ring, out of the ring!
It's perfect. With more WWF superstars than ever before. Unbelievable 6 men in the ring at once. No holds barred. Anything goes.
Dude, every wrestling game for the Super Nintendo was pretty bad that I remember.
It's out of control. Total chaos. The perfect plex. Oh, did you see
The perfect plex. Peter.
Perfect.
What the fuck is this? Oh. Starbucks. Is that the guy they bring Bass Brock Sampson on? Kind of. He does look like him. I forget his name. I hated that guy, the wrestler. Mr. Perfect? It was Mr. Perfect. You're right. Yeah, Mr. Perfect. There's a couple guys that look just like him they had. A couple Star Fox commercials. Notice how they don't show Star Fox.
And only game powered by the super.
Right? It's just like a random dude wearing a fucking...
Why go to the next level?
No connection to the story at all. Oh no, never mind. Make me fucking look like an idiot.
Nintendo Entertainment System.
That's badass. Yo, Chun-Li looking fucking great out in the desert.
Capcom.
What? This is sick. I like that one.
Capcom.
Capcom. Does. Or Street Fighter. You can't even tell she's anime.
格闘伝説ストリートファイター02この夏登場
正義は勝つなんてね
Capcom
Let's see. You were doing 140. in
Tonal
35
shift.
zone.
Sideswiped 3 cars.
I believe this bumper belongs to you. Destruction. Chaos.
Oh, you didn't use your turn signal, son. I'm gonna have to write you up for that last one.
Stunt Race
Fucking
FX,
police.
chip for multi-dimensional visual weirdnicity, only on the Super NES.
Play it loud.
New.
Yo.
De Super Game Boy.
I love the Super Game Boy.
Super en portable power. Zodat je al je Game Boy spellen ook op je Super Nintendo kunt spelen.
Why is Mario? Oh, he's like a mad
Met
scientist.
Super stereo sound. Super Game Boy voor 129 gulden. Nintendo. Now you are playing with superpower.
I like that version of Bowser with like the fucking. I don't know. I feel like they don't use that one as much now. I guess like the SNES Bowser. Honestly, I never played Yoshi's Story. As someone who played most Super Nintendo games, I couldn't do it. I hated Baby Mario so much. I missed out, but I just couldn't do it. Fucking hate Baby Mario.
Before Nintendo came out with Super Metroid, we wanted to make sure it was the most intense Metroid battle ever. So we thought we'd see how Killer here would fare against it. Ready, boy?
Oh no.
That's 24 megs worth of weapons, worlds, and weirdos old Killer's up against. Nintendo's biggest game ever. Easy, boy. He can handle it. Well, let's see how he did.
What? How?
Ship it! Super Metroid, only on
Yeah,
the
that's a
Super
good one.
NES.
I like that one. What? How'd they get it so big?
Buy the Super NES Superset and get 5 complete Mario games standard. You'll find the Superset is like no other.
Here, you sing into this plumber and just say Mario. Plunger, rather.
And for $3.50 in postage, Super Mario All-Star.
Yo, those outfits are so funny.
So stop by your Nintendo dealer today.
Mario dress. Amazing. Sing into this plumber.
For the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Introducing Super Scope 6. Remote powered and laser accurate.
Remote powered, but also
It comes with 6 great games.
6D batteries.
$60, all of which gets you into the game. Like never before. Super Scope 6, only for Super Nintendo. Now you're playing with power. Superpower.
This is Cowabungie. And this is Cowabongo. But the turtles for your 16-bit system are Cowabunga! Holy cow, it's Turtles in Time! The cool arcade game for Super NES. Now take the Turtle game and psych up your Sega Genesis with the Hyper Stone Heist and all new 3D Turtle Threat. So remember, this is Cowabingo. But the turtles for Super NES and Sega Genesis are...
Cowabunga, dude.
Okay, 90s ad agency. Oh shit. God damn, it makes me want to play Chrono Trigger, man. Just even seeing this. I have the actual cart right here. I got a Super NT. I've barely used my Super NT on stream. I should use it more often. Oh, that's the end. Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun. I wonder if there's like a Squaresoft commercials. 9 old. Nah, doesn't look like it. There couldn't be enough for a compilation of that. I looked up I typed in Squaresoft commercials old, and it says racist commercial. That's the first one that came up. Okay, great. So not gonna go with that. Bum 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 bum. Well, it's kind of getting a little late. Maybe we'll watch one more thing. Let's watch one more spooky thing. Actually, we'll watch a couple more. Dude, the Super NT was like in stock for years, though. Like the normal ones were. It must be like a recent thing where people are going to grab them. I have the Ghostly Super NT. I bought it in 2019, I want to say. And there was like no like rush or anything like that. It was crazy. And the Super NT itself was just sitting there in stock for many years. Only recently did it seem to get pretty crazy. And then, you know, the Analog Pocket is a really, really popular one. I mean, that one's awesome. But yeah, no one got that, obviously. I would like to get that. I also don't want to just pay $300 and have to wait like a year to get the fucking thing. Yeah, I'd like to get the Pocket, but you know what? The retro, like, these like retro startup companies are, there's so many of them now. There's more and more and more people like kind of launching them. Like there's that thing, the Mister. Have you seen that? FPGA. Oops. What the fuck are you doing to me? Yeah, check this out. So I guess we'll get a little.
This video is brought to you by the Logitech Lightspeed wireless range of keyboards.
The Lighttech. So the Mister is this like little card you can buy, and you build like an enclosure for it, and it's for anything with FPGA. It's super accurate.
Now you've probably heard a kiosk of sorts that I thought was pretty fun.
I guess I'll let him talk.
Within the retro.
I don't want to watch the whole video, but just to show you what I'm talking about.
Over the past couple of years, we've experienced a rise in the popularity of FPGA within the retro gaming scene, and perhaps one of the most interesting projects in this space is the Mr. FPGA. Now, you've probably heard of Mr. Some of you probably already use it, while others are perhaps curious.
It's really good for like arcade games and stuff like that too.
Huge, however,
but it's for anything. It's good for everything.
Experiences with Mr. over the recent weeks, while providing a primer of sorts for those that haven't used it. You see, over the holiday
But they're getting
break,
popular now. They're getting really expensive, I guess.
Mr. Kiosk of sorts that I thought was pretty fun. Hopefully I can share some ideas to make a project like this feasible for anybody that wants to give it a shot. I also want to talk about various arcade cores that have
Yeah, it's just that little guy, and you can hook up pretty much anything to it, and it's perfect.
Zero-leg, ultra-accurate reproduction of classic games. All that and more is coming up on this episode of DF Retro.
How many intros do we need in these things?
Along with its various add-ons. The idea to recreate classic hardware in HDL to more accurately simulate classic consoles, computers, and arcade machines. The community around Mr.
Yeah, so it's like perfect for like even like any DOS game, DOS-based box game.
Covering many 8 and 16-bit systems and beyond. I purchased my Mr. fully loaded from Mr. Add-ons. This includes the DE10 Nano board itself.
Now they're going up in price even more.
Port USB hub, all housed within this small case. A new aluminum case was.
But you could do anything with it, really.
It looks fantastic as well. Once you get your hands on the Mister, though, setup is relatively.
It's because like retro gaming people are
rather-
fucking, you know, super into these things and they have the cash to spend. So once the demand starts going up for any of these things, like, you know, you can't really blame them. I feel like the same thing with analog. Like, it's a little like startup company like going out of someone's like house. You know what I mean? Like the demand was insane all of a sudden. Retro gaming is really, really caught back on. Like, people have been saying that for 15 years, but it really has. Let's watch some fucking scary things. What do you guys want to watch? A Urbex bedtime stories about Phobos satellite probe, or scary animations? Yeah, the little pie is great for. You can make like a little PS1 out of that too. Yeah, Phobos 2 is a satellite that like went missing. Dun-dun-dun. Well, we have proper people episodes to watch for days, so. All right, we'll watch Phobos too. This is a cool one. Yeah, there's so many proper people episodes to catch up on.
The mood in the control room was upbeat as the technicians continued to monitor the signals being beamed
This is
back through the
Bedtime
depths of
Stories
space
channel.
by the probe. It had been a tense 6-month wait for the craft to finally arrive at its destination, overshadowed by the mysterious failure of the first satellite, which had been launched ahead of it. But
So
this time,
Phobos is
the journey
moon
had
of
been
Mars?
completed with
Right.
relatively few setbacks. Of the 3 computers
It's a moon
controlling
of Doom,
the
I
probe,
think, too, right?
one had unfortunately suffered a software failure, but this malfunction had not prevented the device from completing its primary scan of the surface of Phobos before starting to transmit images back to Earth. Thus far, the mission was proving to be amongst the most successful that the Soviet Space Agency had launched, and there was nothing to suggest that the controllers would not be able to progress to the next stage, which involved the deployment of 2 landers on the surface of the desolate moon it was now orbiting. Standing at an elevated position above the control room, the senior technician watched on with pride as the scientists and other technicians studied an image on the monitors below him. This was the 36th
That's how
picture from the
Phobos
probe
works.
to be received so far, a veritable treasure trove of data which would take months to analyze and dissect. There was a sudden and unexpected commotion from the far side of the room.
What's all the commotion?
Amidst the raised voices, the controller heard someone shout that something unexpected had been identified on the satellite sensors.
I got there's like barely a little bit
A
of red on
large
his
unidentified
back.
mass
Let's
had
see.
materialized in a higher orbit and was now slowly descending
Maybe it's just my
towards the
monitor.
probe.
All the commotion here.
Realizing that there was insufficient time to try and program the satellite to move in order to avoid any possible collision, the controller shouted across to the technician responsible for the device's camera and asked him to take a photograph. It would still take several minutes for this command to travel through space and reach
That
the
guy
small
kinda looks
craft,
familiar.
but hopefully this was sufficient time in order to shed some light on the mystery should the worst happen. For the next few
Yeah, usually their
minutes, all
illustrations
eyes in
are
the
really
control room
accurate.
remained fixed upon the data being received by the probe sensors, until another technician shouted that all contact had been lost.
Almost the
which were
moon
spent
can be
trying to
seen by the
re-establish
naked eye, flying
communications
across
with
the
the
sky
satellite
twice a
soon
day on
progressed into
Mars.
days.
Orbits twice per day. That's interesting.
No signals were either being received by
How big
or
is it in
transmitted
the,
from the device.
in the sky
It was
there?
clear that something must have collided with
Depending
and
on where you
completely
are, I guess.
destroyed it.
Pretty small.
As he later prepared himself to
Asteroid
brief the
size.
oversight committee, which had asked him for an update on the situation, the controller stared down at the final photograph which the probe had taken. The image depicted a huge elliptical shadow being cast down onto the surface of Phobos beneath the orbiting satellite. He would later admit under questioning that he had no idea what might have caused such an anomaly, and that if it was not an anomaly, then he had no idea what it was. He had defended his calculations regarding the size the unknown object would have to have been to cast such an enormous shadow. He would also concede that the shape of the object did seem to depict
all the different
what the
movies
Americans
that
referred to as a flying
have
saucer,
like a base
before walking out
on
to the briefing
Phobos,
room,
and then they go to Mars and
leaving
get
the
killed.
committee members
Other
sitting
than Doom
behind
and stuff
him
like that.
in stunned silence. The initial discovery of the Martian moons occurred in August of 1877, when observers at the United States Naval Observatory detected two bodies in orbit around the red planet. In time, they would name the pair Phobos and Deimos,
Interesting.
after the twin sons of
The
Ares,
United States
the Greek
discovered
god
the
of
moons of
war.
Mars, huh?
For his own part, Phobos was the god of fear and
Did not know that.
panic, and this choice of name would later prove chillingly appropriate. Decades of close observation would go on to reveal that Phobos was the closest celestial body to a parent planet in the solar system, closer than any other satellite which had then been discovered. Such proximity had resulted in an extremely rapid orbit, taking the Martian moon a mere 8 hours to travel around the entire circumference of its host. It was also noted that Phobos was amongst the least reflective of all satellites.
It's just like
it
iron,
would not be
right?
until images of the twin Martian moons were first transmitted back to Earth by the American Mariner 7 probe in 1969 that the reason for such darkness became clear.
Yeah, because our moon
Phobos
is
and
from like
Deimos
a
were both
collision with our
ancient
planet,
masses
isn't
of
it?
shattered and crumpled rock
Something
debris,
like that.
which had been compacted together in orbit around Mars. The prevailing theory surrounding the pair's formation was that in its distant past, Mars was subject to a devastating collision with another object, potentially a protoplanet. This apocalyptic cataclysm propelled millions of tons of rock and dust up into the atmosphere, some of which collided together to create the two moons. With NASA showing little interest in the origins or makeup of Phobos and Deimos, it was Russia who became the first nation to announce a planned mission to explore them. During the summer of 1988, the Soviets announced that 2 probes had been launched, with the intention of photographing and collecting samples from the surface of Phobos. But a third of the way into the 6-month journey, contact was unexpectedly lost with one of the 2 probes. In August of 1988, operators discovered that the missing craft's thrusters had been mistakenly deactivated by a hidden software glitch, causing its solar panels to lose line of sight with the sun, and in turn suffer a catastrophic power failure.
Jesus Christ.
The second probe, however, successfully arrived at Phobos on the 29th of January 1989,
That sucks so
and
bad.
immediately began to capture images of the mysterious moon below. For 2 months,
It's
it
all the way
dutifully
there, and then
transmitted
just
a
like,
steady stream
nah.
of data to its coordinators back on Earth, ahead of a planned final descent to the surface in order to deposit 2 landers. But inexplicably, on the afternoon of the 28th of March, a large mass was detected, seeming to be closing in on the probe. With insufficient time available to program the device's thrusters in order to avoid a collision, the decision was instead made to hurriedly try and capture a photograph of the approaching object.
The fuck?
Shortly after this, all contact with the probe was lost. Technicians spent several days trying to re-establish control of the satellite, before concluding it must have been destroyed, as it was neither receiving nor returning any of their signals. The most disturbing development of the affair, though, would come with the receipt of the final photo to be taken by the Phobos 2 probe, immediately prior to its inexplicable destruction.
What does it mean?
The black and white image it had transmitted depicted a huge elliptical shadow being projected down onto the moon's surface, below where the satellite had been in orbit. When asked if this picture could potentially be the result of a software glitch, or some form of instrumentation failure, the mission technicians replied that this was impossible.
Appreciate it, my
The
dude.
image had been taken using 2 separate cameras, one of which had possessed an infrared filter. The timings of the image also matched up with the last sensor data, which had been received immediately prior to the collision.
I mean, what else could
Even
it
more
possibly
troubling
be?
were the calculations made by scientists regarding the possible size of the oval object which was responsible for this shadow. Using the established points of reference for the probe's camera, they informed the authorities that this unknown mass must have measured at least a terrifying 20 kilometers in diameter.
So it's definitely like a meteor.
As those responsible for the creation of the mission struggled to come to terms with this information, there was further unexpected news. Enhancement of one of the existing images sent by the probe had seemingly revealed a structure rising up out of the rocky surface in the vicinity of the enormous Stickney crater. Calculations revealed that this massive structure must have been somewhere in the region of 90 meters tall and 85 meters in width. It appeared to be shooting up directly out of the ground, pointing menacingly at the orbiting
Giant monolith.
probe, its smooth and shiny surface in stark contrast to the
Is
cratered
Kubrick
and
watching
shattered
this?
landscape it had emerged from. The Russian authorities found themselves with troubling questions, which now needed to be answered. Who or what had destroyed their probe? And was this an accidental incident, or a quite deliberate and aggressive act? And was their craft's destruction a direct result of the mysterious structure it had seemingly discovered and documented? Despite a determined effort to prevent the true details behind the loss of the probe leaking out to the media, it was not long before the stories surrounding what had taken place began to emerge. Several articles published in both the Russian and international press, including leaked photos of both the descending shadow and the monolith, resulted in no small amount of speculation. The most widespread claim was that the Phobos 2 probe had been destroyed by a giant alien mothership, descending from above towards the surface
It
of
was an
Phobos.
alien mothership.
Given
Always.
this alleged vessel's huge diameter,
I agree
there
with
was
that guy.
speculation that the supposed collision may have been accidental, as the vast craft may have simply been unaware of the probe's presence beneath it. Some authors instead alleged that the alien vessel had quite deliberately destroyed the probe, due to the fact it had detected the monolith, which was only part of a larger alien settlement situated
my
on or beneath
God.
the surface of the Martian moon.
It's Doom.
Others claimed that the monolith shown in the image may have been some form of ancient device or weapon, and it had been the structure itself which had obliterated the passing satellite, somehow shooting it out of the sky. Much has been made by astronomers regarding the possibility that Phobos is potentially somewhat hollow in nature, with huge voids lying between the various rocks and boulders which combine to make up its larger structure, held together by only a thin surface crust.
Really?
Similar assertions have been put forward in relation to our own moon, and that
Really?
civilizations may indeed have resided beneath the surface of these celestial objects, largely hidden away from the probes we have dispatched. It is only rarely that purported evidence
Hollow
of their
moon
existence
theory.
has ever been captured.
HMT.
Is it possible that the arrival of the probe in orbit over Phobos, where it unexpectedly captured evidence of an alien civilization, may have been the reason for its destruction?
And there's just dragons living inside the hollow moon.
Given the tensions generated by the decades-long Cold War which had been raging, it is unsurprising that the finger of blame was also inevitably pointed towards the US government. Like the Russians, had they secretly been conducting covert space flights and already sent their own craft with destructive capabilities
Just like
to the
fucking
Red
destroying Russian satellites for fun.
The two images captured by the probe do
Sounds
prove troublesome
possible.
to explain away with any conviction. It is clear from the accompanying data, which was received alongside them, that they are not the result of any kind of technical issue, and that they were genuinely captured by the probe's cameras. But those who seek to debunk the concept of a secret alien base being hidden away on Phobos point to the disappointing track record of the Soviet space program. Two further Martian probes of an identical design which were later launched by the Russian Space Agency in 1996 and
Yeah, so
2011.
just luckily, you know, is it more
both
likely
failed
that
to
the
successfully
Russians
reach the red
didn't have very good
planet.
satellites?
In 1989, at the time of Phobos 2's arrival, of the 3 computers which were on board the probe, one had failed completely, and the second was also malfunctioning. It is
They thought we
entirely
would steal
possible
their
that the
satellites
device
with our
could
space
indeed
shuttle.
have been lost as a result of an internal malfunction, and that no actual collision ever took place.
Really, that's interesting.
In terms of the monolith, it is widely believed that this structure is little more than a naturally occurring feature, much like other alleged constructions depicted on the surface of Mars itself. The famed Martian face and other alleged structures such as pyramids and space stations, which have been observed on the Martian landscape, have since proven to be nothing more than striking rock features, which have gone on to disappear through weathering and erosion. Scientists maintain that, like these examples, the Phobos monolith is merely a tall rock that happens to be sticking up and out of the ground, likely deposited there during the cataclysmic event that first created the moon.
Oh my.
A combination of shadow and
What
the angle at
the
which the image was taken at the point it was captured
Does it ever
have
stop
combined
growing?
together to add mystery to an object, which may otherwise be completely natural. And yet, alleged sightings of alien structures on the surface of our own moon, and as a result
What?
of further Martian
Where the fuck are
exploration,
these?
continue to surface online. And with each passing year, these images seem to become progressively difficult for the scientific community to explain away. Advances in the imaging technology installed on exploratory probes, and the decision to make them accessible to the general public via the internet,
Yeah, that's
have
where
revealed new
Anakin's mom
mysteries.
lives. It looks like a building from
High-definition
Command and
imaging shows
Conquer.
inexplicable color variations, which seem to prove more than ever that there are
Like the
odd
Brotherhood
features
of
on the
Nod
surface
used
of
that
our neighboring
building.
planets, which simply cannot be naturally occurring. Will it continue to be possible to dismiss these images as simple and coincidental rock formations, or some form of optical illusion? Or are we inevitably heading for a time and event where undeniable proof of alien civilization is unexpectedly published online, right before our eyes? Only time will tell.
That was a cool one, though. I've never heard that story before. Never heard that one. Not much to it, but they stretched it out. I like that channel a lot. It's bedtime stories. They're a good channel. If you ever want a mystery,